Bills Mafia, what's going on? I'm Fernando Schmude, that you're leading the charge. I've been away for a couple of weeks, busy weeks, and then the news about my opportunity to come into São Paulo, right, for this NFL game in Brazil. I actually live in a city that is 11 to 12 hour away from São Paulo in a bus trip, right? I had to come by bus. So it wasn't so easy to move here and to be able to watch the game. But thanks to SB Nation giving me the opportunity to actually write about this game, and shout out to Matt Rich Warren. I'm very thankful um, to him, Matt Byron, my shout out as well for all the help as always with the Buffalo Rumblings team, and this huge opportunity of writing about this special event here in Brazil for all the NFL fan base here in Brazil. And it actually gave me the opportunity to write about the game and to come to the game to watch it in person, to live in person my first real NFL experience. I'm a long-time fan, as people who follows me for some time now are very aware. I'm a long-time Bills fan. I've been part of Buffalo Rumblings since 2009 as a rumbler out there, blogging and interacting with the Bills Mafia there, and then had opportunities to write for first 24/7 NFL news. A shout out to Kieran Hadid, who was the first guy to give me an opportunity to write about football, and then Cover One and all the guys there that always supported me a lot, and then finally coming back to Buffalo Rumblings, where everything started with simple fun posts, and now I have this opportunity to be part of the Rumblings network with all the podcasts, vidcasts, and also write every week about Buffalo football. So that has been uh, my journey summarized, and finally my first NFL game live here in São Paulo. I'm still in São Paulo. I will go back to my city tomorrow night. I watched the Bills game from here, from São Paulo. And so today, this leading the charge, I will talk a little bit about the game tomorrow, obviously in the end. But now I want to share my experience here, share what was not just for me, but for all this Brazilian fan base that is growing here in Brazil, this NFL fan base that's growing here, how special it was for all of us. So today's leading the chart is about it. And I hope you enjoy and keep supporting not just me, but all the Rumblings Network team, Sarah Larson, Bruce Exclusive, Jay Spence, the King, Big Newt, Jamie D. Um, all those guys are back. I'm surely missing some people, but man, a lot of great content creators here. Sterling, everybody like Big O. All the guys are awesome, and I hope you'll keep supporting us, rating on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, downloading our work, and following us, and helping us to keep growing, keep producing content for you. So, without further ado, let me talk about this awesome experience here in Brazil. Um, First of all, a lot of fake news, as I try to advise you via X and social media, how a lot of things that weren't really true were being told to the players and about the country, about the city. Look, I won't stand here in front of you and tell that Brazil is a perfect country and that São Paulo is totally safe. I would be lying. São Paulo is a huge city, one of the biggest cities in the world, right? If I'm not mistaken, it's the fifth biggest city in the world nowadays. Huge population, a way too big of a city. So it shares the same trouble that all big cities, all metropolis worldwide share, with security, with robberies, with violence. Obviously, it's a trouble city. Sometimes we have a lot of trouble out there. It's far from being a perfect city. Now, first things first. don't act like you don't have trouble up there in the US, right? You have Philadelphia isn't an easy place. You know, you can't go middle of the night everywhere in Philadelphia and showcase your phones and be safe out there. Baltimore, Detroit, downtown LA. I can name you several cities. So I won't stand up there and tell you like, oh, Brazil is safer. No, but people who came here to Brazil, obviously there will be cases of difficulties, but I believe from what I've been able to see in person, it's been a huge experience, a huge trip for a lot of Americans that came here, and for all people from all Brazil, South America that came here for this game, they could enjoy a nice game. São Paulo is a just like I said, a big city who has great subway service. All right, I think the part of the hotels, the city was ready to receive all those people. All right, this city also had World Cup, soccer World Cup games, who's way bigger than NFL here in Brazil, and it supported and were able to hold those games here without much trouble. This city was part of support to the Olympic Games in Rio, and again, a lot of big time games here, and the city was ready to receive all those people. So this NFL game was huge for Brazil. It was huge for all the fan base here who's growing. I shared more information in my text for the SB Nation that I just told you previously. I had the opportunity to write, and this text is here, linked here in the subscription, so you can click and check it out. And Brazil has a huge, huge NFL fan base. All right, in the last 10 years, it has grown amazingly, and now we have more than 39 million NFL fans here in Brazil. Obviously, it's not the biggest sport in Brazil. Obviously, if you walk out there on the streets, it won't be everybody that knows NFL football, that likes it, that knew about the game, because Brazil is a huge country. All right, but there is a specific group that loves NFL, 39 million people already, and it continues to grow. So for these people to be able, and people like me, you that have followed my work, followed my everything I have produced about bills and things like that, I really can't believe that you aren't happy for me. I could talk to a lot of people, especially my fellow rumblers and a lot of people on X, and people are really happy for me for having this first opportunity. I hope my next one is at the Highmark Stadium sooner rather than later. But to be able to have to enjoy this first NFL experience here in São Paulo, it was huge for me, and I'm pretty sure it was huge for a big Packers fan base that's here, a lot of Eagles fans that live here as well. So I'm pretty sure a lot of people can be really happy for us. It can see how big of an event it was here, and how successful it could be, being able to really support to really um, have everything needed to give any NFL fan a huge experience. The stadium was packed. All right, it's a 49,000 capacity stadium. We had close to 48,000. Uh, the atmosphere there was amazing. It's obvious. I saw some comments on social media, like people saying, "Oh, come on, the atmosphere wasn't nowhere near a game here in the US." My goodness, I'm sorry, but I can't help myself but to call those kind of comments dumb, because obviously any NFL team that comes to an international game, they won't have the same atmosphere they have at their home stadium, packed with only or mostly their own fans. And obviously a fan base that grew up and loves football and has football like as something that grew with them, that was born with them. It's your sport. You created it. It's obviously even bigger in the US, right? So it's obvious that the Eagles, for example, I feel bad for the Eagles fan base. because it's obvious that the Eagles got a home game robbed from them. There is no question on that. So I can understand a fan base like the Eagles being mad at their team losing a home game. Man, I remember when the Bills had those Toronto series, and they weren't home games for the Bills. We had more fans from other teams than Bills fans out there sometimes because we weren't really a big team back in the day and competing for much stuff. So when playing the Seahawks in Toronto, I could see more Seahawks fans out there, and for example. So it's obvious, like the Eagles came here in the stadium, especially from people from here, from Brazil. The Brazilian Packers fan base is really big, so a lot of Packers fans out there. And for the Eagles team, it's obvious that they miss their fans and their home advantage. They didn't have a home advantage here. It's obvious, right? I won't pretend to assume it they had a home game here. It was far from it. All right. With that said, the atmosphere is as good as it gets for an international game. For a game where you had a lot of new fans out there, we had a lot of people knowing the sport and knowing it for the first time and starting to like it and to know it. So this fan base was excited, was really, really excited to be part of this event, to be able to see it in person, to enjoy every moment until the last whistle, until the last snap. Everybody really excited. The game contributed to that with all the competition and the scoreboard being closed all along. The Packers being live and with a chance of winning the last drive. So it was huge. The fan base did its part, and it's obvious it won't ever be the same atmosphere on an international game to a home game. Pretending or expecting something like that isn't really very smart. Sorry. It's the only thing I can tell you if you wanna compare the kind of atmospheres, right? You just held a Copa America in US, a soccer Copa America, all right? And look, soccer isn't your main sport, far from it, but you still have MLS. You have a growing league. MLS is a respected league. It's obviously nowhere near the level of the top European leagues. It's nowhere near the level of Brazilian league. It's nowhere near even the level maybe of Saudi leagues that are investing a lot now. But it's a respected league. There are a lot of quality players playing out there. It's very professional. You are very organized with your leagues in America. You know about that, right? So and you are nowhere near ready to offer the same soccer atmosphere than a Copa America being played in Brazil, for example, because it's obvious the soccer is our sport. A Brazilian kid is born rooting for a soccer team, and man, the bond they create with their parents and it's even different than what you have with your professional sports in America. I compare it to your college atmosphere. You have your alma maters, your colleges, and you feel part of that, attached to that. A Brazilian kid or a Brazilian person with their soccer team, it's the same thing, right? So with the seleção, the Brazilian national team, soccer team, same thing, right? Argentinians with their national team, same thing. So having a Copa America in Brazil, in Argentina, anywhere in South America, the atmosphere, the soccer atmosphere would be different than your atmosphere, simply because you aren't like in love with the sport the way we are down here. It's cultural. You can't expect a new fan base like in Brazil, a lot of people just knowing the sport to love it like a home fan base of the Philadelphia Eagles. So I can't really have another adjective other than calling it dumb to try to compare this kind of stuff. Sorry, right? And I'm sure a lot of people, my 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 audience that is listening to me here totally gets it, right? So I'm talking about some comments that I've seen on Twitter and social media, and I gotta tell something about it because it's crazy to expect that, right? So again, um, You can't expect a home field advantage playing here or playing London or playing Munich or playing Mexico or nowhere. No place is like home. No place like home. So I totally understand every fan that is against an international game because you are losing a home game. As a Bills fan, I wouldn't like to have the Bills playing in Brazil. I know it's not the same opinion for all Bills Mafia members here from Brazil, but I'd rather go to Buffalo to watch the Bills there than having the Bills coming here to Brazil to play here because I know they would lose a home game, right? And they could have their fans, but other teams would have other fans, and then you would have all the other 30 teams fans that would be there watching as well. So you lose a home game. Now, I'm pretty sure the players that came here, the coaches, they could enjoy it like the best way possible as you can enjoy an international game. The fans really loved it. The atmosphere in the stadium was crazy, and people really liked it. It was a total success. And let me tell you one thing: Brazil is the third biggest market for the NFL right now in the world, losing just to America and Mexico. So if you think, oh, NFL won't ever come back to São Paulo, you are mistaken. I'm sorry, but you are totally mistaken because NFL likes money. We know that, right? And there is a lot of money coming from here to America. So instead of sometimes sharing or posting some xenophobic stuff, even, you should be pretty prideful, pretty honored because it's your game, your American game, a game that isn't or wasn't right naturally played anywhere. You created it. It was played only in America. Everybody else it's known as American football because the real football is soccer all over the world, right? Liking it or not. So your game is growing worldwide. Everybody loves it. As soon as people learn it, people wants to see more and grows loving the game. And it's your game. So be proud of it. Be proud of it. All right. Be proud of it. Be happy. Be happy for the international fans. Let me tell you another thing. I'm pretty sure you enjoy NBA fans. You enjoy your Lucas nowadays. You enjoy your Jokic, right? I'm pretty sure if you're a Denver Nuggets fan, you love Nikola Jokic. If you're a Dallas Maverick fan, you don't live without Doncic anymore, right? And I could go on with all the international stars that play for NBA today. But it wasn't like this when I was a kid and we was a Chicago Bulls fan watching Michael Jordan, right? But Michael Jordan and that dream team started to bring your amazing basketball. Again, be proud of it. Your amazing basketball all over the world. That everybody wanted to be like Mike. Everybody loved those guys, right? And a lot of people started to play basketball because of them. And nowadays, I know you don't like to lose a world championship here and there, or if you don't have an Olympic gold medal. I know it. I know. I definitely know how it feels. I talk to Anthony Prohaska all the time about soccer. Shout out to Anthony. And for us Brazilian to have our national team playing like it's playing right now, it's not something we enjoy. We love to have our team playing the Joga Bonito, playing the best soccer in the world and winning World Cups. And it's been a long time we haven't won. So we are bothered by that for sure. And so I get it when your national basketball team doesn't win and you feel like, oh, people gotta respect us again, send all the best, all our powerhouse, everything we have so we can win it again. I know how you feel about your basketball. But the league has grown and the league has more talent nowadays than ever because the game has grown all over the world. And nowadays, the biggest talents in the world they play in the NBA. And football obviously is a little bit far away from that. It's just the beginning. But don't be mistaken, this game here in São Paulo, you can be sure that a lot of kids that wanna be Neymar, wanna be Ronaldinho's, Ronaldo's, nowadays even Messi from Argentina, Cristiano Ronaldo's. A lot of kids could watch a game here and maybe one of them, "Huh, I wanna be like AJ Brown, right? I wanna be a pass catcher like that. I want to be a quarterback like Hurts. I want to be like Love. I want to rush the passer like Gary." So it's just the beginning for the NFL, right? We are years away from that. But they have an international program, right? We have with the Bills a British guy now. There was a Brazilian guy with the Dolphins years ago. So the NFL is just on baby steps, right? But I really think the time will come where we'll see a lot of international players playing in NFL, and we are years away, but it will happen. Recently, there was a football, American Football World Cup recently that USA didn't win, and it was crazy to not have the USA winning, right? I believe Austria and Canada and Japan were teams that went a little bit ahead of US even. And it was crazy how America doesn't win a football tournament. But obviously professionals didn't go, and I don't know how old could people be in this tournament. I know Brazil was there and was smacked by some teams there, but those competitions are starting. So there is some talent in Austria nowadays. There is some talent in Canada. There is some talent in Japan, right? In Brazil, there will be some talent. So your game is growing. Can't you be happy for those fans? Those fans that invest all the money on Game Pass. Those fans that watch every game in Europe, like watching those games like in the middle of the night, waking up in the middle of the night to watch a game and to follow their teams, right? Here in Brazil, when the daylight saving time changes, we got to stay up really late to watch the prime time games. But you know what? When the Bills play a primetime game here and it ends like 2, 3 in the morning, Bills Mafia in Brazil is like, Fernando, let's go, leading the charge right after the game. Like 4 in the morning, let's go, leading the charge. Let's talk about the game. People love the game. People love the Buffalo Bills. People love the Green Bay Packers, the Philadelphia Eagles. Some fans, they even left the soccer. They even left their teams that they grew up with them in soccer, and they are following their American football teams nowadays. So can't you be happy for those people instead of be out there on Twitter like, oh, international games suck. Oh, the field sucks. Oh, you can't wear green. Bullshit. We saw a lot of people wearing green. We saw green all over the place. So don't listen to those fake news. Oh, there is trouble. It's dangerous. A 49er just got shot in California. Is it safe to play football in California? Right? Oh, the field sucks. We talked for years about the Commander's field. And for as long as I know, you don't play soccer in the Commander's field. You don't play baseball in the Commander's field. You don't do anything in the Commander's field. It's purely to football. And I'm talking about a stadium and a surface from a professional NFL team that makes a lot of money. And they can't figure out that field, right? Packers playing snow. You're playing inches of snow. In Buffalo, people don't want a dome because you love your football weather and you love to watch players playing in snow like inches. And then you come to one of the fields in Brazil that is one of the best in America, a field that has Libertadores game, that was a field for World Cup game, right? And has one of the top-notch grasses for soccer, obviously. You go to London in Tottenham Stadium, that is one of the best pitches in the world and a Champions League field. You go to Munich and play in Bayern field, that is another one of the top-notch fields in the world for soccer, and another Champions League surface, a pitch that was used for Euros just recently. And then you say, "Oh, those fields sucks." Man, all those countries, they give NFL everything they ask for. If the NFL doesn't point out what's wrong with those pitches, what needs to be different about those pitches, nobody can fix it. And let me tell you one thing or two about pitches, about fields, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people who talks about fields, what's your experience playing in those fields? Because okay, I'm no football player, but I have plenty of experience playing different types of fields, playing soccer professionally. I played in Camp Nou in Barcelona. I played in Mineirão in Belo Horizonte here, a World Cup stadium, right? I played in several big time stadiums here in Brazil with different kind of fields, different kind of grasses. I played also in a lot of poor fields, in small stadiums and poor grasses. And I will tell you one thing, like the grass is one thing, but when people are sleeping, it's not just the grass, but the foundation, like under this grass. And what should be so special for NFL fields that only America has it and nobody else can have? It makes no sense. It makes no sense. Sorry, right? So, oh, the field sucks. NFL gotta be clear what they want, because if it's a problem in Germany, if it's a problem in England, it's that's problem in Brazil, in Mexico, everywhere. Even in MetLife Stadium, you argue about the field. You have the Commanders field who sucks for football, and you don't get it figured out, right? So don't use these as an excuse to again, oh, international games suck. No, come on. It sucks to lose a home game for a fan base. I'm totally 100% on the same page with you. Now, to not put yourself in the footsteps of those international fans that love the game, that spend their money and support their teams and love their teams and have an once in a lifetime sometimes opportunity to watch their own teams. I have been a Bills fan since the 90s. I never been to the Highmark Stadium. I never been to the Half. I never been to the Ritchie Stadium. I never been nowhere near Buffalo. And I hope I can go one day, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I will ever watch another NFL game in person. So can't you be happy for these people instead of tweeting your international game sucks, the field sucks? NFL has everything they asked for, they have in those international games. All those countries, let me tell you one thing, America is amazing. Yeah, you know how to host competitions, you know how create great games, and you when you want to be, you are an amazing people. Now, don't be D-bags and act like nobody else can host an NFL game, because it's not true. It's simply not true. All those places worldwide, they host big time events of other sports, and they surely can host great NFL games, even if some teams will lose some home field advantage in this process. Don't use stuff as excuse to to protect your opinion against international games because you are losing a home game if you're a fan. I get it. It's bad for the home team. But just like I said, NFL loves their money from the international fans. So please, please understand that your sport, you should be proud of it, is growing and people love it worldwide. And you got to be proud of it. Because let me tell you one thing, when I was 10-year old and I got a Madden game for Super NES and I had to figure out those rules to play. I had no idea what I was doing. It wasn't easy to learn that game. All right. So people love it. You can be happy for those people. And In the future, you have top notch, even more top notch athletes playing your football in America for your favorite team. And you will have your Luka Doncic playing as a running back. You will have your Jokic as your quarterback. It's hard to find a franchise quarterback. You don't find 32 men capable of being franchise quarterbacks in America. Maybe you can find it worldwide. Who knows? So stop complaining and start supporting the growth, the growth of your sport, the sport that you created, right? You should be proud of it. You should be proud of it. And then another thing, I always tell how I love to watch the NFL, NBA, and see how much they have to offer to soccer and other sports in terms of organization and in terms of several things, scouting, right? In terms of balancing your leagues. I love the way you have your leagues working with drafts, with your students being students athletes, and you can have people being developed as athletes, but also studying, right? So I love it. In soccer, we have a lot of different rules and financial fair play, but big clubs buy the best players. Small clubs are always in trouble. Big clubs get the most of the TV money. Smaller clubs get a minimum. So it's difficult to compete in soccer, right? People who like soccer knows what I'm talking about. So it's really nice how you have everything set up with your sports, and other sports, other leagues could learn a thing or two for your model, right? Now it's also true that there is a thing or two that you could learn from soccer or from other sports, and I will tell some examples, right? I've already asked why people, for example, how can an NFL team have one kicker, and if the guy gets injured in game, you don't have anybody else able to kick the ball decently enough to make a 20-yard field goal, for example. It's absurd because, man, look how much money those teams invest. And imagine losing a game like the Bills. We just lost to the Chiefs because of a missed field goal. Now imagine missing this field goal because Tyler Bass was injured and you had to put like Martin, or you had to put like a wide receiver to kick the field goal because you don't have anybody else practicing that. Like it makes zero sense. Oh, Fernando, but the training is limited. The practice time is limited. You can't waste time with practicing other stuff that you won't even use that much. You gotta have a backup plan. You can't be unable to punt the ball because your punter got injured, and the Bills had Martin injured last playoffs, for example. And then you can't punt the ball anymore because the kicker doesn't know how to punt. How a kicker doesn't know how to punt properly enough so you can get by? How a punter doesn't know how to kick a field goal decently enough so you can get by a situation like that? I know a lot of people will tell me like, Fernando, it's not like this, and because it's your culture. Let's be honest, it is like this. The field goal kicker, he only practices field goals. It wouldn't hurt if he practiced a little bit of punt so he can get by there, right? You gotta have options. Another example, why do you not use like your fullback or a big guy in a touch push like situation instead of putting your franchise quarterback there and risking somebody rolling over his knee and losing the guy for the season and having the year lost because of play like that? Oh, because the exchange with the sender is difficult. We saw the Bills losing a game some time ago with Josh Allen uh, having trouble with the exchange with Mitch Morse, and then the Bills went to overtime and lost against the Vikings. So is it really that impossible for a guy to practice a little bit of exchanges with the center or even the backup quarterback? Like, if you want to lose a guy injured, lose the backup, right? But you can put a more powerful guy, a bigger guy, use this guy in the quarterback sneaks. Use this guy in touch push like situation. It would be even more unstoppable, and you wouldn't risk your quarterback. But nobody thinks out of the box because you are too attached to your cultural way of thinking. It's been like this forever, so let's continue like this until somebody does it differently, and you are like, oh, yeah, we can do it differently. And I'm touching this subject because let me tell one thing. Yeah, players were sleeping yesterday. Saquon Barkley slept in the first touch in this game, right? And then Hurts and then Love, and a lot of players is sleeping early. But let me tell one thing. As soon as they made cleats adjustments, they stopped sleeping. Oh, but the field was slippery and they needed to make adjustment with their cleats. When you play your beloved football weather games, you don't need to adjust your cleats to play in the snow. When you play under heavy rain, you don't need to adjust the cleats to play in rain. So if NFL comes to a place like Brazil or goes to a place like England or Germany and they look at everything and they surely look at those fields and they are like, everything is good enough. How those players go to the game, they warm up for hours before the game and they don't adjust their cleats so they don't sleep on the field. And I will tell even more. As the game went on yesterday, starters stopped to sleep. Second half, Saquon Barkley wasn't sleeping after that, sleeping in that first touch, and he scored his 3 touchdowns and was huge in the game. Quarterbacks weren't sleeping anymore, but as soon as guys got robbed or injured and left the field, I remember Jacobs being shaken up and leaving the field, and the backup running back, the Packers backup running back, entered the field. As soon as he entered the first touch, he slept. When Love got injured, as soon as he left, Malik Willis came in, he slept. What were those guys doing on the sidelines? Were they taking a nap, sleeping? What are you doing? The management, the equipment guy, what are you doing that you don't tell your players like, hey, look at the surface. Is it slippery? What kind of cleats are you gonna use? You needed to go to the game, sleep there, have some trouble, put your team in a bad situation so you could adjust your clicks and then not sleep anymore. It makes zero sense as an under 13 player, as an under 15 player. All right. First thing when we entered a field to play soccer, our coaches were, did you check the field? Is it slippery? Is it wet? What cleats are you gonna use? You are gonna use those cleats in the wet field? Come on, you are being juvenile. So, as a young kid in soccer, we learn to check the surface and to wear the proper cleats to avoid sleeping on the field. Professional soccer players, it's like basics. Then NFL, the guys come to the field, the guys warm up for hours before the game, and the guys enter the field and sleep like crazy, and then make adjustment to soccer cleats, and then equipment guy makes something. It's nuts. It's crazy to deal with stuff like that on an NFL level. I even had a tweet here separated. David Bakhtiari, the former Green Bay Packers left tackle, tweeted that last night. My thoughts on the field surface, uncommon field surface for both teams. All players should be wearing 7 studs or a flex option in forefoot, shutout, red, and T-bone. That will fix majority of the sleeping. David Bakhtiari words, right? My brother and I were saying players should be pissed about this. Obviously, players would, if you players, especially NFL players, you want to play in the best possible field you can have. It's obvious. So if the NFL isn't take care of the best possible fields for them, they should be pissed. I totally agree with Bakhtiari. There needs to be a consistent playing surface across all fields that players step on. It includes Commanders Field, FedEx Field. It includes MetLife Stadium. So don't come with talking shit about international games. No one wants to watch players slip or dudes' feet being locked in the turf, increasing the percentage of injury. It's 2024. The NFL is king. They got more than enough money. Spend a little to get a lot back. The fans and players deserve it. 100% with Bakhtiari here. And I know for sure those soccer stadiums have what they have the best surface for their sports. Unlike the Commanders Stadium, unlike the MetLife Stadium. So before talking trash about international games, make sure all your stadiums have proper surface in the US, right? And then I asked a real question here, curious to Bakhtiari. I didn't get an answer. I haven't got an answer so far. Hopefully he can answer. I'd love to hear from him, right? And I said, David, I'm a former professional soccer player, and I played on several different kind of fields here in Brazil and abroad. Those fields from Bayern, Tottenham, and Corinthians are elite soccer, but some people argue they're not prepared for the heavier NFL players. That's something people say, oh, Fernando, soccer fields aren't prepared for the heavier NFL players wearing equipment and changing directions with all that weight. Okay, I don't see how can you change it, the base under the grass to support it. So I really don't get it, but okay. So if that's the case, then NFL should do something about that. And then I continue. So my question is, what's the biggest difference to top NFL fields? We know there are some trash ones that people love to forget when trash international games. The grass is top quality in those fields, in those pitches that I'm talking about. International games are being played. They are the top fields for soccer, right? So is it in the foundation below the grass? It really makes little sense to me after playing on several different surfaces. So I'd like to hear from an NFL player, not from somebody on Twitter that never ever stepped on the field, never played a single down or single snap or a single minute of any sport on any field, and they want to trash international pitches or international fields just because they don't like international games, because they want to own games on their own countries. Like, I won't share my favorite sport. Are you North Korean that you want to just everything for yourself and you don't want anything from your country coming out to other places? Just like I said, you should be proud. It's your game, the game you created, being played all over the world. Look at soccer. A lot of you hate soccer, right? But soccer is beloved all over the world, right? We love it here in Brazil. Argentinians love it. Uruguayans love it. You go to Europe, they love it. I'm pretty sure a lot of people in America love it as well. I know it for sure. And everybody's happy with that. Nobody's like, oh, Premier League sucks. They are taking our players away from Brazil and we don't have our best players playing here. Man, we want our guys playing the best championships and representing Brazil well, and that's what happens. And I believe the growth of NBA is something that you like, and NFL is going on the same footsteps. It will take longer. It's not from, it won't be tomorrow that you see an elite international player, but it's coming. It's gonna happen at some point, right? So I really would love to listen and to hear from an NFL player like Bakhtiari to explain me. Look, Fernando, I think the kind of grass should be this one, because this one is better for football. Because let me tell, those grasses from Corinthians Stadium, from Bayern, from Tottenham, we have different kind of grasses. I remember one grass that I enjoyed playing soccer was called Esmeralda here in Brazil. Esmeralda grass, because it's a good surface for the sport, right? And there are different kind of surfaces, and there are kind of grasses that suck for playing, and so I'd like to understand what could be different, right? But one thing for sure, you could wear different cleats for different surfaces and wet surfaces. Corinthians Stadium is always wet. The surface is always watered. In soccer, even more. We didn't see they watering the field before the game. I was there like 2 hours before the game, and I didn't see they watering it. So I don't know. Maybe I don't know why the night's falling. I don't know how to call sereno now, so I'm speaking Portuguese. But the field wasn't was it looked like a bit wet, right? But soccer cleats solved most of the problems, as we could see. It's amazing how the pitch got better in the second half when players had proper cleats, right? So please, don't be d-bags, right? Be happy for international fans. It's your game. You should be proud of your game growing worldwide, right? It's your game growing worldwide. Your invention, your American invention. Be proud of that. Be proud of that. Because for sure, you invest a lot of money on your teams, but you can trust me that fans everywhere they invest a lot of money on their teams as well. I'm investing money this week to come to watch Eagles and Packers. I have nothing to do with those teams, and I'm here investing my time, my money, not missing days of work in my day jobs to produce content about the NFL, to simply enjoy a game that I grew up loving and learning. I'm pretty sure a lot of people were happy for me yesterday, but I saw some people being d-bags as well with kind of things that if you didn't have in the Commander Stadium, if you didn't have in the MetLife Stadium, if you didn't have when you play your beloved football weather games in snow and heavy rain, then you could be mad about a totally different situation with the pitch in Brazil. But no, simple adjustments could solve that problem. And then a lot of people talking bad things about the field in Love's injury. Come on, if you look at Jordan Love's injury and you want to put it on the field, you have no clue what you're talking about. I bet and I challenge you, plant your leg in the best grass field in the US and ask a 300-pound offensive lineman to roll over your leg and see if you won't have your knee in trouble. And I won't go that far. Go to your kitchen and do the same thing. It's not matter of surface if you plant your foot and you have a 300-pound lineman or even your little kid rolling over your leg. You will mess up your knee. You will blow out it. So it wasn't about the field. Far from it. So don't use excuses to defend your point of I don't want my game being played anywhere. I want all the games here in the US, right? But again, it's being selfish. So don't be selfish. Be proud. Your game is growing and be happy for all the fan bases that are really having their opportunity. I wish everybody could go to the US to watch their favorite team, but it's not reality. It's not reality for everybody. So I really ask you, and I'm not out there like wanting to make enemies. I believe some people will listen to it and be mad at me. Sorry, but I'm just being totally honest with you. All right, the event was a success, just like it was a success and continues to be in London and Germany, in Mexico, and it will continue to be. Like it or not, the NFL is growing. They will continue to play it internationally, right? And I'm pretty sure Philadelphia, especially Eagles fans, I saw a lot of American Eagles fans here. They had a good time as well, right? A lot of people had a great time in this event. So I'm thankful for the opportunity. I'm thankful NFL gave me and gave all the NFL fan base this opportunity, and really happy. I went to bed last night like 4 a.m. because of the all the adrenaline. Couldn't sleep. Like the game ended like 1 a.m. Like I came to my friend's home and couldn't sleep because of adrenaline, because so happy for everything, could enjoy it. So it's amazing, and I'm really thankful. And I want to thank you that listened me to this point. Even if you're mad at me, I'm thankful for you, and I'm thankful for your country, and I'm thankful for the amazing sport you created, right? I'm pretty sure if you love soccer, you enjoy or you enjoyed watching Romário in 94 in America when you rather watched a guy in a Bronco running away from police instead of watching Brazil playing US. Romario was killing it in the US back in the day, right? And people who love soccer really enjoyed watching Romario when a lot of people didn't care about soccer in US. And I'm pretty sure in '94, a World Cup in Brazil, the atmosphere would be even 100% better than in the US, right? You just had a Copa America in the US where people played on fields smaller than the normal fields. I don't know why. You have huge stadiums with the best surfaces, the best condition, and you didn't have enough space to have proper soccer pitches to the best national teams in America to play against each other. Like, makes zero sense. So don't act like America is perfect because it isn't. It's amazing, but it's not perfect. And all over the world, like Brazil isn't perfect, but it's amazing if you can enjoy what you have there, right? So I want to tell you thank you for the amazing sport you created, and I really love you all, and I hope I can at some point go to America. And I have no doubts in my mind that I will be received with open arms by a lot of amazing Bills fans there, and I can't wait for this day. And just to close it out, I'm pretty sure by now you had several different pregame shows to watch, and we are all excited about the Bills game tomorrow. I just want to tell you that it probably won't be easy, not because I don't believe the Bills or don't believe I'm higher on the Bills than most people, but I believe this Cardinals team can make things difficult, especially with their offense. They can run the ball with Connor. They have some great talent with McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr. And I can't write off Kyler Murray just yet. I'd wait this year to write him off. So he has his last shot. This offense can create some trouble for the Bills. So I hope our defense is top notch tomorrow. I hope Babbage can call a great game, and we can have the defense on point, so our offense can really prevail. I believe it's possible. I'm anxious to watch our offense. I really believe Josh Allen is ready for an MVP year. I believe he doesn't need Diggs or anybody else. He makes everybody better. And I have no doubts in my mind by December, we'll look at this group of wide receivers and we will see it differently. And not because those guys will be playing any better than they are playing right now, just because of opportunity and playing with Josh Allen. Josh Allen will make them better and new stars will be born. Like Khalil Shakir is my main bet, but wouldn't be surprised if Curtis Samuel or even Keon Coleman becoming that guy. Kincaid obviously as a tight end. So I'm really anxious to see this Bills offense on the field. I don't see this Cardinals defense as bad as it was last year, but it's still not enough to slow down the Bills offense, in my opinion. We just gotta be ready for that offense. It can be dangerous. That's my in just a few words, my opinion about the game tomorrow. So really excited. We watch it here from São Paulo. Met some Brazilian Bills Mafia people here. It was awesome and great experience. So again, thank you NFL. Thank you to all the American friends. Sorry for this tone sometimes of being pissed out, but a lot of trash stuff being talked about the country, about the game here since before the game and continuing after the game. It's not really like this. Okay, you could rethink some stuff and take some stuff back because it's not really 100% like this. So thank you so much, Bills Mafia. I'll be back on Monday with the Leading the Chart post game show in Portuguese, talking about a big time Bills win, hopefully. And then on Friday, post game show in English, right? With the Leading the Chart on Fridays, as normally do, not in the last two Fridays, unfortunately, but back to normal next week, probably and hopefully. So thank you so much, Bills Mafia. See you around, and always, always, always go Bills.